Today I'm going to do a workshop together with you, and months ago I did a very quick and short conference together with you, most of you, and I had kind of gone through all the concepts that I can deliver to you. Today's topic is, as you can see on the screen later on, it's understanding the human mind, be more successful by using your brain's power. And so to give a brief background of myself, I am a business coach living in Japan. I mostly support the CEOs or the executives of the corporation, but also try to deliver this concept to many people. And my goal today is to help you understand how you can utilize your brain in an effective way. It's gonna continue for 90 minutes. It's a really interactive session, and I'm gonna break the group in several groups, and also several times it happens. But the time is limited, so I'm not probably will not be able to answer all the questions that comes to your mind, but I try to answer as much as possible. And the structure is kind of a session is structured so that you'll be able to grasp as much as possible. And particularly what's important is that you speak a lot from yourself. I know maybe it's sometimes hard because you are going to meet a person over the screen for the first time, but please try to be open and try to share as much as possible. And one thing that I would like to ask you is that if possible, please have a piece of a paper or a notebook and a pen around you so that you can write down something that you felt. And also I would ask a lot of questions to you. Maybe you need to jot down. So if you don't have something to write now, please look around and whatever paper. And okay, you can put that on your computer, but probably writing down is much more powerful for you. So in the opening kind of sections, please try to find out something, a pen and a pencil or a kind of something to write down, okay? So let me move on to the next page. So here are today's topic. Well, I'm going to go through the overview. I have spoken this a month ago, but some of you may have come for the first time probably, and at least it will be an opportunity for you to recap what I have spoken. And then after, we are going to dive into the workshops. Number two it says, but it's going to be the goal setting. First workshop is about the goal setting. This is powerful, important, and fun. The next one is about the feed forward. It's a simple tool that you can utilize to make a significant change in your life. And next one is self-talk. Self-talk. This is powerful and easy. So we are going to do these things during 90 minutes. It's gonna be a bit hectic time. We need to rush, but still, I believe that you can experience a lot. And before going on, we have something close to 30 people in this room, which is the exciting thing. So I'm going to ask you to speak about yourself, but only briefly. And I won't be able to listen to all your expectations because of the time, but I at least want to hear your name and where you are from, your country or city or town. And I also would like you to add one thing. That is about the weather. Weather. In Tokyo, it's 8:37 in the morning. Today is a rainy day. Actually, this is a rainy season. But probably you are living in a different time zone, different country, and your weather is totally different. So I would ask you to add the information about what is the kind of temperature and also is it sunny, rainy, things like that. So name and your country and also the weather. And I have a list here. So I'm gonna call your name. So please briefly introduce yourself and say hello to the people. Okay? And if there is a name there, but people is not joining yet, I'm gonna skip. So next person, please continue. All right? So I'm gonna start with. Okay, thank you very much for. I'm excited that people are joining from the world, every place, and we're gonna start the real session now. So please look at the screen. I think you know how to do this, but if you want to kind of make the screen big of mine, maybe you could press some dots, 3 dots there, and kind of find kind of, this is written in Japanese, but probably fix the screen or something so that you can see my main screen as a big one. Okay. All right. So if you look at the screen, this is the slide that I've been showing over and over, but it talks about the goal. Now, this is a kind of a conclusion. The goal comes first, then we perceive, and it's about the secret system to achieve the goal. It's supported by cognitive science, and it is very easy and simple. Can you please switch to speaker voice? What does it mean? And do you having trouble?
No, it's understand. It's for everybody else to switch to speaker view, so it's not just a tiny box for them.
Okay. So you are. This is an advice to everybody. So are you able to see the big one? Is that it? People
she's got it.
Okay, good.
Individuals can switch to speaker view, yes.
Yeah, so you can switch from the people's face and also to the bigger screen. Right, thank you very much for helping each other. So the goal comes first, and then we perceive, and this is a very simple idea. The only thing that you need to do is to set the goal. Set the goal, you see on the right upper side, set the goal outside of the comfort zone. And I'm gonna explain something about the comfort zone later on, which I have talked months ago, but I'm going to do this again. But the goal is going to be the center, and this is going to be one of the core of today's workshop. So if you set the goal in a proper way is important. There are several rules or guidances that you better follow but when you think about the goals. So goal needs to kind of satisfy several kind of items, but that goal will create specific energy from your brain. Your brain will be activated once a goal is set, and if we don't have a goal, it's just that we are living to sustain where we are, which means that's kind of maintaining our comfort zone. And I told you that it is about survival. Our basic minimum thing is to sustain our life, which means surviving. And if you don't have a goal, like I'm going to erase the goal, now you see the comfort zone only on the left down side. And now this situation means that your goal is the top priority for you is to maintain your comfort zone, which means that you are only doing every activity to maintain your current comfort zone. And if you are perfectly satisfied with that, that's fine, and that is a kind of fantastic thing. Great. But most of us really wants to get out of something, do something more, and believes in that I should have more power potential. So in order to do that, the simple way is to set the goal, and that needs to be outside of the comfort zone. Well, and the other item that is really necessary is to increase the sense of reality of the goal world. The goal is something that you hit, but there are things around the goal. So when you are when you have achieved the goal, when you are kind of already in the goal side, then you see something different than you are. So if you increase the sense of reality in your mind, in your brain, then you'll be able to believe from your heart, from your unconscious, you'll believe that that goal is real and start feeling something different. What happens is that, as you can see on the screen, you see two dotted circles, which means that you may have two comfort zones at the same time. But this is not real, because we are only able to maintain one comfort zone. So it goes down to the left side. Current reality is stronger. But if you successfully increase the sense of reality of the goal side, you'll be able to have power so that becomes real. And you can create this situation. If you look at the screen, this is very important. You see that the right side seems to be real and you don't have a comfort zone around you, which means that in your mind, you are starting to feel that is real for me. That is real for me. However, you are still in this reality. We want to intentionally create this situation, condition, so that you can pull the best out of yourself, your brain. And then, now we'll be able to go to the right side, and the only things that are needed is to set the goal, a proper goal, and also to increase the sense of reality. Those two things are the key. And so we are living in our comfort zone. That is a starting point. Like I have explained this a month ago. So this is Tokyo. Crowded train. Officers pushing the passengers in the train. And like it or not, that was the reality. I see some changes happening, but overall it may come back to this. But this at least used to be the comfort zone of people who are living in Tokyo, and see this in many cities around the world. Well, another one is this. The upper side, you see a lot of motorcycles on the road, and also the cars, heavy traffic jam. And these are from Vietnam, Hanoi. And on the downside, you see people standing on the roof of the train. So it's Bangladesh and Beirut. Like it or not, it's not safe to be on the roof, but this is their comfort zone, and they are living this reality. And when we think about the comfort zone, there are several elements that we better understand. Number one is that we want to sustain our comfort zone. That's very powerful. And comfort zone is, number two, is that it is not limited to the physical space. So people are standing on the roof, but it doesn't mean that on the roof is their comfort zone. It may be to a certain extent, but the more is that the reality that they need to stand there to move to somewhere is their comfort zone. So it's not about just a place, but the concept, idea that they are living in is the comfort zone. That is the second idea that we better understand when we deal with the comfort zone. But now the world is changing a little bit. Like in Tokyo, you see a relatively small number of people doing a lot of things to be careful about the virus. Maybe our comfort zone is shifting, but my guess is that it will kind of come back to where we are. But still, I believe it will at least continue for a while. I don't know what while, but for a certain period of time, we may need to deal with that. So we have two kinds of comfort zone. Like it or not, it's a reality. Well, this is the other thing that we kind of recap before going into the detail. Our brain is not capable of maintaining two gestalts at the same time. And we don't have much time to spend on this, but you can see two images, but we don't see them at the same time. Next one is same. We see two images, young lady and old lady, but we don't see them at the same time. This is a gestalt. Gestalt may need some explanation. Of course, many of you are familiar with that, but it is something that is made of many parts and yet is somehow more than a different from the combination with parts. So when we understand this, it's kind of a combination. Comfort zone is a combination of parts. Comfort zone is a combination of parts. I'm going to show this again. And if you look at the left-hand side, this is the comfort zone, right? It's a comfort zone. The comfort zone is built with many things, many parts, many bits and pieces. And in order to get out of that, we need something, and that is the goal. That is the goal. And the goal itself will not work alone with the sense of reality. With the sense of reality, the goal becomes like real in your mind. And then you start creating this occasion that is real and this is not real. That is real and this is not real. If you could do this, you'll be able to move on to the goal side, which means that you have achieved your goal. Achieved your goal. Right? So, there's a question. Where are you looking at? This is a simple tool that I use when I coach people. The overall direction is to help people look at the right upper side, starting from the left side or bottom side. And we need to see the future, in order to create a better future. Of course, we need to see the future. We cannot dwell on the past. So one simple tool that helps us see the future is feed forward, which we are going to do in the second workshop. And of course, goal setting is so important. And I've talked that the goal should be outside of the comfort zone. Outside of the comfort zone. And number 2, on the right upper side, you see the goal outside of the comfort zone is a powerful tool for you to get out of where you are and to start build a new life, a better life, and start helping other people. And you'll see some word on the upper side, levels of abstraction. Well, actually, this is a very important concept, but because of the time, I won't be able to cover this today. So the major things that we are going to do is on the right side, you see feed forward and the goal outside of the comfort zone. Now I'm going to dive into the goal setting. So because this is a 90-minute session, we only have more 55 minutes. So I'm going to start it immediately and asking you to do some work. So I wish you would be able to prepare a piece of paper or a notebook so that you can write down something that comes to your mind. Before that, I would like to touch on briefly the rules of the goal setting. Number 1, as I mentioned, is to set the goal outside of your comfort zone. And the farther it is better. it's good to have a big, far goal from where you are. Number 2 is the goal needs to be a want-to goal. We call it a want-to goal, but it's actually coming from your heart, something that you desire from your heart. And we try to avoid the goal that we call a have-to goal, something that you have to do. So better one is want-to goal. And third one is, of course, we want to have many goals in multiple areas of our life, many goals. And this is the exercise that we are going to do. And I have talked about this balance wheel last month, and this is powerful so that you can think about your entire life. We tend to kind of focus on our work or a kind of relationship with somebody, but there are various things that we want to do. They are important, and also we can think about a goal for each of them. Like you see, a goal for a work, a goal for a family, and of course a goal for everything. This kind of activity is very simple. You just draw a line. Draw 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have a space on your notebook or paper, please draw 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'll be able to start creating this. And this will help you to bring the best out of your mind. So, is it possible to switch to the whiteboard? Okay. So, as I mentioned, it is very simple. Draw 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And in between, you can write something, some word. You don't need a circle, just to show the place I'm writing this, and you can put something that is important for yourself. It could be anything. And can you switch back to the screen? And these are the examples. So work and family and friends, or probably those are the things that are important for you. And you can put anything in. And around that, you can write the goal for each of them. So I'm going to switch to the next slide so that you can see how to do it. So in the yellow part, I told you that you can write something. You may start doing this now. Just draw it. And on the green boxes, please try to write a goal for each of them. Fill out the yellow boxes, write important topics of your life, and fill out the green boxes, and you can write your goals for each of them. And I'm gonna take several minutes for this, so that you can start working on it. Try to fill out the inner circle first, the yellow ones. It could be a simple word. Just think about what is important for your life. Just enjoy. And if you could write 8, there are 8 boxes, you can go to the green, but it's okay if you have come to 6, 5, and then you will move on to green, because the time is limited today. And take 4 or 5 minutes for this, because this is very important for you. To show the example, I'm going back to the previous slide, because you may need the idea of the topics.
Good question.
Sure.
Can we be, is it all right to be a little more specific in the yellow wheel?
If you want to. So like if you have a hobby and the hobby is specific, like a skiing or tennis, you can write it down, because that is important. So there's no criteria for what needs to be written. Thanks for asking.
Okay. But it have to be really broad as well?
Yeah, it's all up to you, so it's different by people.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we are working on the balance wheel. And I'm going to add one challenge to you. I'm sure that you have not completed everything, but at least you have some kind of topic inside, and you may have some goal tied to that. So if you're still working in the inside, maybe it's okay, but please maybe you start trying to think about something that could tie to the goal, the inside box and the goal. And I'm going to switch the slide so that you can see the idea that it is important to make the goal bigger. So you can pick up whichever one, and try to make it as big as possible. You could say that try to be aggressive, try to be ambitious, whatever word that kind of explains your thought, but make it big as possible. And people ask me, how can I judge whether that is big enough or not? So there's one criteria here to check if it is big enough. You can ask yourself whether you know how to do it. And if you know how to do it, it may be big, but that is not big enough. And if you do not know how to do it, so in other words, it could be said that please try to make it unrealistic. But actually, this becomes true, so it's going to be realistic at the end. So this word is not a kind of perfect fit for that, but at the beginning it may sound, so you can set the goal, something that is unrealistic to you at this moment, and that is a good goal that activates our brain. If you don't know how to do it, that is a good goal. Okay, you just pick up one topic because you may need some time to do it. And the point is that there's nothing for you to lose. It's just a paper and a pen. You can write down whatever, you can dream big, and you just spend 5-10 minutes. There's nothing for you to lose, but what you gain is significant. This is the beauty of this exercise. All right. And unfortunately, because of the time, I'm going to bring you to a discussion. And of course, this is a little bit challenging time, but it is also a fun thing. And what I would ask you is to just speak about how you felt after working on. I know the time is short, and how you felt about trying to make the goal as big as possible. Maybe you didn't have enough time to do that, but think about expanding your mind. All right? Okay, thank you everybody for coming back. And I know there is a time limitation, but please, I would like to hear from one of two voices from you after doing this. So what was your experience? So please raise your hand if you want to share something. I know it's not easy to do this over Zoom, but it's good to be open. Okay, so Penelope, can you unmute you and speak?
Yeah. I think I found one, it was exciting because you're looking at goals and looking at what you're passionate about. But it was when trying to think big, that's where the trepidation came in, because I can achieve small goals quite easily. But it's when it goes to big, and if you then scale that up again, it's just like, this is way beyond me. But it's exciting at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you for the comment. Great comment. And one more person? Somebody else?
Our group in Stayfield felt that the interesting part was the how. Like, if you don't know how, it brings out the bigger goals. So we found that resonated.
Thanks.
And having more than one goal is good.
Great. Okay, so I'd like to move on, but let me add some more comments, which I've already talked. But there's nothing to lose, no risk, and you don't need a lot of resource to do this. You only need a piece of paper and a pen and probably 10-20 minutes of time. But the return is incredibly huge. So as Penelope mentioned that you could set a goal, you could achieve it, but what after that? So if we continuously update our goal and make it big, of course, do in various areas, our life will be always exciting and kind of a fulfilling one. That's the idea behind this. And I know it's aggressive, but I'm going to do the next one, which is a feed forward. But this will work as a combination. Because even if you try to set the goal, if you dwell on the past, it's hard for you to move forward. And it is so simple thing. So if you want to kind of make the screen bigger, try to do it so that you can see what on the presentation. So it's very simple. What do you want to do? Is the key question of the feed forward. And it's a big open question. So what do you want to do about what? So it's all up to you. So my question to you is, what do you want to do? And you have various answers, and all are the answers, correct answers for you. And important, because you don't come up with an unimportant one when you are asked. The idea that popped in your mind is already an important one. And I have some explanations here, and probably you will be able to see over the video later on. So let me kind of go through it quickly. So feed forward is a set of communication skills to help others pay attention and more on the future and focus so that they can build on something that is ahead of them. And we can utilize the questions to help others see their future. And it's like this: what are you going to do next? Which I have already talked. And like this one, what is your plan after COVID-19? I don't know when it will be after, but someday it will be kind of we will overcome it. And shall we go out for dinner? Of course, this is a simple one, but it still is a word that helps other people look at the future, because we don't go to dinner in the past. It's always in the future. And there is some word that I want you to remember now so that we can move on to the exercise smoothly. 2 words. First one is the forwarder. Forwarder. This is a person who does feed forward. Does feed forward means asking the question or urging people to look at the future. But particularly in this case, it's about asking the question. What are you going to do next? This question will be asked by the forwarder first. And the receiver is the person who receives feed forward. The forwarder will ask a question, what's next, what are you going to do, and the receiver will answer. This is a simple kind of a structure of the feed forward. Of course, there are some advanced ones, but in the beginning, in the workshop, we are going to do this. And there are some explanations. So this could be applied to anybody. Like you may want to coach or be a consultant for your boss or a senior person or your wife or husband. It's going to be difficult, right? Of course, it's going to be difficult. But feed forward is applicable to anybody. You can use it for even to your father, to your wife, husband, or your boss, because it's not about kind of coaching, consulting, guiding from the upper perspective, but it's just about what's in your future, what's coming next. So it's easy and could be used, but this is the kind of a cornerstone, basic thing for the coaching that I'm doing to the executives, and also I have a kind of top athletes and kind of top artists, but they all start with this feed forward. And what to say, as I mentioned, any conversation that you make is feed forward. But we particularly start with the question because that's the easiest thing. Well, it works like this, and there are two effects. Number one is, of course, I will do the feed forward to like you, and you've been asked about the future, like what's your next plan? You start speaking about your future plan, and you'll be happy. You see the happy thing, you show the happy face, and that's the first effect. But the other thing is that this one, it comes back to you. The reason is our brain does not necessarily differentiate your questions, whether that is asked to other people or to yourself. Because what are you going to do is a question that I can give to you, but it could come to me. What are you going to do to myself? So it means that the more you do a feed forward, more you ask questions to other people, you are doing feed forward to yourself. And of course, when a person who is asked, being done, kind of somebody received the feed forward, becomes positive because they talk about the future, which means that you ask a question to yourself, you become more positive. And if the next person likes it, okay, I love feed forward, and she starts doing the feed forward to people around him or her, then the second effect, of course, first one occurs, but the second effect comes back, and it will help the entire team or a group or organization. This is the mechanism how it works. So we are going to start the exercise, right? So there are several questions that I mentioned. So what are we going to do next? And what's after COVID-19? Or shall we go out for dinner? Of course, we cannot ask you to go out for dinner. And COVID-19, maybe it's too big. It's different by country. So let's focus on the first one. What are you going to do next? What next? It's up to you. You can answer to whatever. And you just need to feel, this is a workshop that comes after doing this, but probably the time limits us to do this. But we could write down what you feel and think about how the impact was. But this time, we need a pair of people. So I have to kind of create a breakdown out room different from the original one, okay? And first I have to, two of you in the room have to decide the forwarder and the receiver. I'm going back to the screen and showing the basic rule, the forwarder and the receiver. So you discuss and decide who is going to be the forwarder and who is going to be the receiver. And in this interval, I will give you 3 minutes. One forwarder will ask a question and the receiver will answer to that question only. And after that, I bring you back to the room and ask you to switch. So during one session, you don't need to switch. You just focus on being a forwarder who is asking the question and being a receiver who is answering the question, answering what to do next. And I bring you back and then you switch, and then we start the next one. I know it's going to be a bit complicated, but I think we can do it. All right? Let's try it.
Anyone have a question?
Sure.
Anyone have a question?
Okay, you have a question?
Know what to do?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's try it. So just the forwarder will ask a question about what are you going to do next. The other person, maybe you, of course, most of you have seen each other, met each other for the first time. I know it's hard, but you say hello and what you're going to do next, and the other person can answer about what you're feeling, what's your plan, and just feel how it goes. All right? And if you have 3 people, please kind of one person listening and waiting. So for that sake, okay, let's try it. I'm gonna start this. Okay, so I am, thank you for coming back, and you need to go back into the room and exchange the role. So forwarder will be the receiver will be the forwarder. And so I'm going to restart it, okay? So please exchange the role and take another 3 minutes. So those who are waiting, if you see the screen, you will see that feedforward works in 2 ways. It works for other people, but also it works for yourself. So the second one, that is very powerful, that it works for yourself. Thank you all for coming back. And feedforward is about, asking to other people so that they can see the future, but it also works for yourself. This is so powerful. And it also is related to the previous learning. It is also related to the previous learning. which I have presented. I'm going to use a whiteboard, so maybe please, if you can, open up, make it bigger so that you can see. You see here that there's a present and past and future here. And so because our brain is not capable of looking at the two things at the same time, which means that if the question channels you to the past, you'll be kind of stuck here. This is the kind of a mentality that's dwelling on the past. But if the question brings you to the future, your mind will be kind of focusing on this one. So we can't focus on two things at the same time. We can only focus on the future or the past. And there are many elements in the future, of course. Of course, there are many in the past. But it's all up to you to select which. And you can do this to yourself, but this works to yourself and also to other people, so why not do it to both? That is the simple idea of self-talk. I'm switching back to the slides, and this is what you have experienced. So I don't have enough time, but if anybody can share your experience about this one, feed forward, please unmute your microphone and tell what you have experienced or thought. Anybody?
Yeah, I can.
Sure.
Someone else? Yeah, so it was actually felt really nice sharing what you're interested in and what something that's important. Made me feel happy to see that. Made me feel sharing that passion with someone or sharing that interest with someone. I guess it makes it more real.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing it to life through the words and describing it. And,
excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's a very positive feeling because it's just next. It's not the big, hairy, scary goal. It's like, well, it's just this big next to do it. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. Indeed. So the kind of magic of this is it doesn't have to it doesn't have a pressure on yourself. You just speak something about your future, and it kind of starts the rolling stone that becomes a initiative for you, or something happening in your mind. All right. I can hear from somebody else. Does anybody want to share about this one?
Yes, I want to share.
Okay, Rika, please.
Yes, my forwarder was Tomabechi, and I kind of talked about my future business. Still I just kind of had an outline, but her way to kind of question it, I need to go to more forward, more bigger, and more kind of yes, I need to do this. I kind of feel like okay, I should do that. She really kind of moved me forward. So that was so good feeling and feel like, yes, I will do it.
Yeah.
Great, the feeling.
Yeah, it's like that. Thank you very much for sharing that. So sometimes it happens like that. It works like a kind of idea coming up, and you can't stop speaking. And that is one mechanism. And sometimes it's kind of what about future? Well, kind of people stuck. But it's okay because it happens occasionally. So you sometimes kind of feel a lot of ideas coming in, but sometimes you just stop. But whatever thing happens, the simple question that's thrown into your mind will initiate your brain to start thinking about the future. And even if you are not expressing something new, it's happening. It's happening something in your brain. So it is working. That is how it works. You don't have to worry that this didn't work that powerfully, but it's kind of planted there. All right, so I've got only several minutes to go, and I actually had aggressively tried to do one more theme, but which is actually hard for me. So I would like to go through. So there is a self-talk, which is another powerful tool, and there are two types of self-talk. So please review this in the video later on, there are auto-generated and implant self-talk, which means that that's coming from their unconscious, or that you are trying to educate your conscious. The auto-generated self-talk comes from the unconscious. Mr. or Ms. Unconscious will provide a lot of self-talk, the words that coming in your mind. And it is said that the word self-talk occurring in your mind is 50,000 kind of plus minus per day. If you do the math, it's going to be like that because there are conscious and unconscious words, but it's huge. What is important is that you push back with your implant self-talk. What you want to plant to your mind, you can create these words, and that's going to be a kind of a significant cornerstone for you to start building your life in your way. The auto-generated one was created based on your past, based on your experience. Probably there are huge kind of influence from your parents or teachers, and particularly those were the idea of the past days, which is not kind of applicable in these days, but yet they are creating part of you. I don't say that they are bad, but now it's moving kind of shifting days, and you need to build your new way of living based on your goal, where you want to go. You start with your past or you start with your goal. If you start with your goal, you can create your self-talk in a proper way, and your goal will kind of show you what kind of self-talk you should be speaking when you have achieved your goal. That's how it works. And the way to improve the self-talk is you need to first recognize what's coming out of your mind unconsciously. And then you replace them with a conscious word. So first step, number one, is very important to recognize what is coming out of your mind. And that is the exercise that I wanted to do, but which is actually difficult for the time, because of the time, but you catch what comes to your mind. So you can write down every word that's coming to your mind, and that will be the starting point to understand what is in your mind, and then you start to replace with your word which you want to kind of plant in your mind. This is what I recommend you to do, and hopefully I would be able to do this next time, but this is a good idea. So even if you have finished this course, and if you have several times, 5-10 minutes, I recommend you that to write down what you have learned, what you are thinking, and that will be another kind of a good start for you. Okay. So aggressive to try to put this and also do this discussion, but yeah, because of this is very kind of international gathering, and it didn't work that way, but I think this is kind of providing another aspect for you to move forward. Okay. And now as a summary, I really tried to do the goal setting and also the feed forward. So you set the goal outside of a comfort zone, and you also envision the future. And also you try to manage or build a good self-talk that is coming from your unconscious. And those three will work together so that you can improve your life and start doing something new in your area, in the area that is important for you. All right. So I've discussed with Ed, and I was sure that we are not able to cover everything. And maybe I told you that I need full 2 days or something to do entire thing. But at least there are things that I couldn't do today, and the self-talk left there. And self-talk is a very important cornerstone for the day one of next day. So I'm going to do this in next July and August, and these two will work as a consecutive sessions so that you can kind of complete the concept. Day one is about elevating your self-confidence. Of course, self-talk is part of that, so I can put this work in that day. And also after that, we will do something. Another important thing is to gain support from other people. So even if you work aggressively, hard, you need support from other people so that you can step up to another comfort zone. And there are some kind of secret skills that probably many of us have not been educated, and I can tell you that created based on the cognitive science, which works powerfully. So these 2 days are going to be the 90-minute session again, and the starting time will be same. I hope I can see you there, and also I would appreciate if you could bring some of your friends if you have enjoyed this, and it's going to be a good day again. So I will need to close this. Of course, I can accept some questions, but I need to hand back to Ed, and it's just the time. So I would like to say thank you very much for participation, and I would like to hand this back to Ed, and also if there's something you want to ask, I'll be standing here for a while. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about this rushy time, but I hope you enjoyed it.